One of my all-time favorite movie franchises and universes in general is Harry Potter. Here's my list of all 11 Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts movies ranked. I would just like to say, get this out of the way, I like all of the Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts movies. I have to say, for a franchise that has so many movies, I feel they have all been mostly consistent and enjoyable. At worst, I find one of these movies to be just okay. Spoilers for everything in the Wizarding world, and with that all out of the way.
Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look and you'll see into your imagination.
Coming in number 11. Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 1. This Harry Potter movie is kinda tough to watch. It has a lot of boring, cringe, and frustrating moments. All the stupid drama with them separating because of the fighting between Harry and Ron, and just between with all of them, I know it had something to do with the Horcrux. Even with that all being said, it led to really dumb and stupid cringe moments. I feel like a lot of the stuff in this movie is just skippable, to be honest. The beginning and ending of the movie is like the most important parts of the movie, and it's the best parts. Also, the ending is obviously really important, and Dobby dies too, which was pretty sad. Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 1 is just a very okay movie, and I find myself never really wanting to rewatch this movie unless like it's a marathon, like I'm watching a Harry Potter marathon or something like that. But when I do end up rewatching this movie, it's not a bad experience. I do enjoy parts of this movie. It's just there's some stuff I don't like about it, and I just really think this movie is okay. Also, it's really just set up for part 2 mixed with stupid filler drama that doesn't really matter. I rewatched this Harry Potter movie the least, and the only time I ever rewatched this movie, like I said, is during a Harry Potter marathon, so it's last and my least favorite Harry Potter movie. Coming in number 10. Fantastic Beasts: Crimes of Grindelwald. This is another okay movie for me, but a more watchable movie than Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 1 to me. I feel the biggest problem with this movie, and I could say this is a problem with all the Fantastic Beasts movies, mainly the first 2 Fantastic Beasts movies, is they all feel like they were written by someone who doesn't write movies. And that's because they were written by someone who doesn't write movies. These movies feel like they are books in a way. I really wish the Fantastic Beasts movies were just made into books first, then adapted into movies later, because I think the movies would have been better with a proper movie screenwriter. And like I said, this is mainly a problem in the first 2 movies. And the result of them feeling like books is the pacing is kind of all over the place. The pacing is actually pretty good in the 3rd movie, but the pacing in this movie especially, it's not that good. This movie also had some confusing moments too, but the story was solid. I did enjoy like everything that the story had, and the characters were great. I really like the characters in all 3 movies, and that's like the strong aspects to these movies, and that's kind of like the strong aspects to the Harry Potter movies too. The characters are always just so great, and you really get invested into their story. I do enjoy many aspects of this movie, but I do find this movie to be just okay, but nowhere near bad. I do believe many people were trashing this movie at the time, and I kind of don't get the reasoning for the trashing of the movie. I did see some reviews, I just don't agree. I could be wrong because I didn't really pay attention to the reviews at the time. The only thing I saw was that people were trying to boycott these movies for a multitude of reasons, which as a result of all of that could mean that there won't be a 4th and 5th movie, which really sucks because originally the original plan was supposed to be 5 movies in this franchise. I don't really know much about the controversies. I am a movie channel, so don't expect me to go into details about everything that has happened. I know some of them. I don't know much behind why certain controversies are there. But the result of the controversies might have caused these movies to have bad reception and not do so great in the box office by the 3rd movie. Hopefully this movie and these prequels age better over time, but only time will tell, and I do think this movie is okay, nowhere near as bad as I think some people believe it to be. Coming in number 9. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. This movie was a solid start to these prequels. Not a fan of the extreme amount of CGI. There are moments where it's just all CGI. It's just kind of overkill. But it's not the end of the world. This movie was a good introduction for Newt Scamander and all of the new characters that were introduced in this movie. This movie also showed us new sides to the Wizarding world outside of Hogwarts and in the past, which was cool. The ending was pretty cool too, with Johnny Depp as Grindelwald. Overall, a solid start to the Fantastic Beasts franchise, and I think it's a solid movie. Coming in number 8, Harry Potter: Order of the Phoenix. Order of the Phoenix was David Yates' first film, and I think he does a good job. I like the directing in this movie, and I feel David Yates helps the actors give better performances too. The actors get so much better starting with this movie, and I feel like David Yates should get a lot of credit for that. The story itself, to me, is just kind of meh. The whole everybody not liking Harry Potter for a while, it was just kind of weird and annoying and forced. And he was also threatening to get expelled too, and I just didn't really like any of those scenes. Also, I despise Umbridge, not because, like, obviously we're not supposed to like her character, I just don't see the point of her. I just disliked her, and I don't think she's a good character. Not, like, you can not like a character and have them still be a good character. I don't think Umbridge was a good character at all, and she was just annoying, and I just don't like her. She kind of puts this movie down a bit for me. She doesn't ruin the movie or anything like that, though. I still like this movie. The best parts of this movie is the stuff with Sirius Black and Harry. His death was so emotional, and Daniel Radcliffe, like, his reaction to Sirius Black's death is just really good, and it just shows you how much these actors have evolved from the beginning up until now. We also see Harry become like a leader, and he's training everyone to fight Voldemort, and seeing Harry take charge like that was good growth for his character. We also got to see the final, at the end of the movie, we got to see a big duel between Dumbledore and Voldemort, which was pretty badass as well. So there's a lot of great stuff in this movie, a lot of good stuff, and things that progress the characters forward. And there's quite a few things I don't like about this movie too, and specifically Umbridge. I do not like that character at all. But this was a solid film from David Yates. Coming in number 7, Harry Potter: Half-Blood Prince. I used to always remember loving this film as a kid, and looking back at it, I don't know why I loved this film so much. As I got older, this movie just fell further and further back on my list. Maybe it's because, like, all the very emotional moments and the betrayal of Snape at the time really, like, shocked me, and Harry's reaction attacking Snape after he killed Dumbledore was just all very emotional and sad. And when I first watched these movies, I haven't read the book, so seeing everything for the first time was just very shocking. And seeing Snape betray Dumbledore like that was really shocking for me as a kid, like, watching that for the first time. Rewatching it now, those moments are still shocking for me, but there's a lot of stuff in this movie that just kind of is a bit slow at times. And there's quite a bit of melodrama too that was just not bad, but I just didn't really care for it. But this movie really raised the stakes. Things changed forever after this movie. The characters are no longer the same, and this is like the last time we get to see the characters, I don't want to say like live normal lives, but just have things be normal. Things are like completely flipped upside down after the events of this movie, and they're no longer in Hogwarts anymore. It's just, the franchise completely changed after this movie, and there's only 2 more movies left, but it's kind of sad like how everything played out. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff I like about this movie, and the only stuff I didn't like about this movie was the way it looked. For some reason, Half-Blood Prince had this weird tinted, muted color format for the entire movie. I don't know if that was a David Yates just trying something new and experimental, but I didn't like it, and the movie just looks kind of ugly, in my opinion. I don't know if others agree. The way it looks, I'm not really a big fan of it. I think the directing was good though, but it's just, like I said, the way it looked, the editing, everything else was good. I'm not sure why David Yates decided to make the movie look so blah. And then the stuff I didn't care for, there was quite a few stuff in this movie I didn't care, and it was just mainly the melodramatic crap. But it wasn't bad, it's just I didn't care for it, and it was just kind of there for me. You know how like there's stuff in movies that's just there, you don't have any opinion on it? There's a lot of that in this movie for me. Coming in number 6, Fantastic Beasts: Secrets of Dumbledore. This movie was easily the best of the Fantastic Beasts films. In my opinion, this movie has the best action in the entire Harry Potter franchise. I felt the involvement of like the beasts was natural to the story, and I feel like they didn't have to force the beasts in there just because they have to have beasts in every movie, because these movies are called Fantastic Beasts. And I feel like this movie did a good job of blending the Fantastic Beasts elements stuff and the war with Grindelwald. Also, I really loved Mads Mikkelsen as Grindelwald in this movie, and I felt like he was better than Johnny Depp. I liked Johnny Depp as Grindelwald, but Mads Mikkelsen was a lot better in my opinion. Grindelwald in this movie felt like a character you could see why Dumbledore fell for him, and you can see how Grindelwald is a real manipulator in this movie. I felt like Mads Mikkelsen really brought more depth to the character. Also, the music in this movie was top notch. It was better than all the other Fantastic Beasts movies in my opinion. I also loved Dumbledore in this movie, and the best parts of this movie was stuff with him and Grindelwald, but I liked all the characters, Newt Scamander's brother, Jacob, Queenie, all the characters I really am invested in, and I'm glad that they kind of have an ending in this movie. I guess the writers knew that there was a possibility that a fourth and fifth movie might not be made, so this movie does wrap some things up, but it also doesn't. Hopefully we get to finish this series of prequels, but I'm honestly not sure we will. And if we don't get a fourth and fifth movie to finish these prequels off, I would honestly be kind of upset. A solid movie with a lot of fun, emotional, action-packed moments. I rewatched this movie like 3 or 4 times, and every time I watch it, I like it more and more. Coming in number 5. Harry Potter, Sorcerer's Stone. The movie that started it all. And without this movie being such a big hit, we wouldn't have had the franchise we have right now. I honestly adore this movie. This movie does a great job of the world building and setting this whole world up, and also setting the franchise up too. It's also fascinating to see where this franchise started, and then by the time you go to the last movie and just see where everything ends up, seeing how these movies age with the audience. We're never going to get a set of movies like this again. Also, the way we saw the cast grow up too. It's just a magical experience, watching these movies from beginning to end. But yeah, this is the movie that started it all. This movie just feels like magic to me. And honestly, I could say that about all the first 2 Harry Potter movies, and just Christopher Columbus's directing style is just, he knows how to make magical, heartwarming movies, because he makes movies that makes you feel good. I really love the way he made like the Home Alone movies and the first 2 Harry Potter movies. And yes, I know the first 2 Harry Potter movies are more for little kids. But I grew up with this movie. This movie feels like magic, and this movie has a special place in my heart. Coming in number 4. Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets. This movie has the same feel as the first movie, but it's a bit darker, and also I feel like they expand on everything the first movie does. It's kind of like a perfect sequel, what a sequel is supposed to do. We're introduced to like more characters, flying cars, Diagon Alley, new potions and spells, and it's just all this fun stuff. We also get more stuff about Voldemort too. And like I said, this movie does everything better than the first movie and expands on a lot of aspects from Sorcerer's Stone. Also, this is the last movie we see Richard Harris as Dumbledore, and in my opinion, I think he is the best Dumbledore. I like Michael Gambon and Jude Law as Dumbledore, but Richard Harris is much more chill and what I would think Dumbledore should act like. Michael Gambon was a little too angry sometimes.
What's happened? Harry, did you put your name in a goblet of fire? No, sir.
Coming in number 3. Harry Potter Goblet of Fire. I really liked the adventure that this movie had. The feel of this movie was just like this one big adventure following Harry as he tries to survive the Triwizard Tournament. This movie set up the characters for interesting scenarios and interesting situations. Harry really gets tested in many ways in this movie, and I really like the character development in this movie overall with all the characters, mainly Harry too. Also, we got David Tennant in this movie, which automatically gives this movie extra bonus points. No, I'm just kidding, but it's cool. The character he played was pretty cool and interesting. That plot twist with David Tennant as Mad-Eye Moody, or he was pretending to be Mad-Eye Moody. Then you got the ending with Voldemort coming back, and the franchise once again just completely changes. It's never the same. The introduction to Voldemort was perfect. Voldemort is one of the greatest villains of all time in my opinion, and his introduction here was amazing. This movie has a lot of great moments. I love the big adventure of following Harry through the tournament, and I also think the character development in this movie is really good too. Coming in number 2. Harry Potter Prisoner of Azkaban. First off, I just want to applaud the directing in this movie. In my opinion, Alfonso Cuarón is the best director to have ever taken on Harry Potter. I just love his visual style, the way he sets up scenes. Everything about the directing in this movie is just very exceptional in my opinion. Also, I love the script too. I think the script is the second best of the entire franchise. This movie was very unpredictable in a really good way. There were twists and turns. This movie always is able to just keep me at the edge of my seat. I really wish Alfonso Cuarón was able to direct more Harry Potter movies. Like I said, I think he is the best director to have ever taken on Harry Potter. The second best would probably be David Yates or Christopher Columbus. but Alfonso Cuarón's style is exceptional. Hopefully, maybe he'll return to a Fantastic Beasts movie or a future Harry Potter film. Or maybe he would come back and direct an entire TV series. I'd be okay with whatever he would want to do. I just want him back in this franchise. But yeah, this is a great movie, and it's my second favorite Harry Potter film in my opinion. Coming in number 1, Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 2. All I have to say about this movie, like just in simple terms right now, is this movie's perfect. A perfect ending to the entire franchise. One of my all-time favorite movies, top 10 easily. I can't think of a single thing I dislike about this movie. There wasn't any boring parts. The music is the best it's ever been. The acting, the directing was good. The acting was great. So many sad moments, so many just moments that keep me at the edge of my seat. The final duel was super emotional, and the experience of just watching this movie was just one of the best movie experiences of all time. On like the ending as well, the ending was like just perfect. You jump 19 years later, we get to see a bit of like an epilogue, and we get to see the characters now as like parents. There aren't too many movies where I feel like there's a perfect ending, because I don't know why with like movies, I just feel like the endings always don't land. Like I'm always left wanting more, especially with a movie I really like. That's just a personal thing with me. I just feel like sometimes a lot of movies and TV, even TV shows, the ending is just always left me with wanting more. But this movie is just a really satisfying ending, and I wouldn't want to change a single thing. It's perfect. Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 2 is one of my all-time favorite movies. I love this movie. Probably the best ending to any franchise ever, in my opinion. And for me, it is the best Harry Potter movie. So that was my list of every Harry Potter movie ranked. I don't really follow what other Harry Potter fans say too much about the movies. I watched a couple lists. I watched a couple reviews of the Harry Potter Fantastic Beasts movies. I'm not sure if my opinions are popular or not. I really don't care. These are all just my opinion at the end of the day. I would say that what inspired me to make this video right now is because there are rumors that Harry Potter will be rebooted for some stupid reason. I don't really want to get into all that right now. All I'm going to say is I'm really against the idea of Harry Potter rebooting. Warner Brothers is just really all over the place recently. And once I heard it was getting rebooted, I rewatched all the films. And then I was like, I never reviewed them, so let me just rank all the movies real quick. There's so much more they could be doing besides rebooting the franchise that just ended like 10 years ago. More than 10 years ago, but it's been about 10 years. There's other parts of the Harry Potter timeline I think they could and should be exploring. First off, finish off the Fantastic Beasts movies, then maybe go into like working on some TV series for a little while, and then maybe eventually we can get all the OG cast back together and make a new set of movies. Maybe I would make a video essay on why rebooting Harry Potter is such a horrible idea, especially right now. Maybe like years and years down the line, like maybe when I'm like 80 or something, they could reboot Harry Potter. It's way too soon to reboot Harry Potter in my opinion, and I hate the idea so much. But yeah, Harry Potter has a special place in my heart. It's one of my all-time favorite franchises, and I can't wait to see what's next in the Harry Potter universe. I, in my opinion, feel is super consistent. Just no reboot, please.